And for us to carry out that activity, Alliance shared that they had accosted or approached the Ministry of Education, and they would be able to carry out a provincial training to that end. And they shared with the authority the fees that they would be charging province by province according to the schools that would be able to avail the teachers that were responsible for procurement and the stores. So it was out of that submission by Alliance, since we had already a background MOU with them. As you might be aware, the authority has got very few capacity builders. In the Department of Research and Capacity Development that I'm coming from, we have only 2 trainers against over 700 PEs. These are countrywide, it's not just the Ministry of Education. So that itself gives us a lot of heavy workload, and to cope with that workload, we've entered into MOUs with the 10 training providers like NIPA, University of Lusaka, Olympus, to mention a few. So some are government, some are private, and they were given a latitude to identify training needs gaps in the public sector entities. So that is how Alliance got into this capacity building activity. I submit, Chair.
Thanks so much. I've forgotten your position.
Director, Research and Capacity Development.
Okay. Honorable members, he has given the background issue. Honorable Wamnyema.
Thank you very much, Chair and ZPPA. Thank you for your submission. Just to work with you, the committee wants to understand when this MOU was done, specific dates. Number 1. Number 2, you wrote a letter on 26 July 2024 to the schools, and there is no other correspondence from Ministry of Education before this, except after this. So why was ZPPA writing to schools over this training without proper closure with the controlling officer's office at Ministry of Education?
Honorable Mkumbi.
Chair, in addition, Chair, you have indicated that the ministry has not been many years. PS, you are here. If that is the status quo, why? Or maybe you have been compliant, we don't know. Why are they saying you have not been compliant? Secondly, who identified this same alliance? Was it your ministry or themselves? Was this alliance the only alliance that could offer training? And how were they selected amongst the many people that can offer training? Chair, I submit.
Before you respond, PS, in his oral submission, the Director Research, if I listened very clear, he said that the Alliance approached the PPA and they said that they've already discussed the issue with the Ministry of Education. So now I want to connect to the submission by the PS Ministry of Education. In view of the above explanation, the training was invited by ZPPA, who in turn partnered with Alliance Procurement and Capacity Building Limited as per their policy. The ministry therefore had no hand in the engagement of a private limited company, as everything was being done through ZPPA as per their mandate. So now I'm trying to connect to your submission, Director, where you said that Alliance came to you after having a meeting with the Ministry of Education. But from the ministry, this submission that they had no hand, meaning even the time they were meeting your Alliance, they have no connection with the Ministry of Education. So we can respond to the questions plus the questions being asked by honorable members through the PS.
Thank you very much, Chair. The first question on when we signed an MOU with the Alliance Procurement. The Alliance Procurement specifically was done in 2023 That's when they made that application to be a training provider, and they were subjected to some quality checks, vetting, and they were found to meet the minimum benchmarks that we had set for others that we had also invited before. In our training policy, there's a provision for us to engage these training providers so that they augment the few trainers that we have in the authority. Then, as of the letter in July, yes, as an authority, we have got that mandate to conduct capacity building, to promote and coordinate interventions that would build the skill sets of all officers that are handling public procurement transactions in the Republic. And based on that mandatory provision in the Act, the authority has got the powers to conduct procurement directly with any procuring entity, because procuring entities are standalone legal entities, and that itself gives us the powers as a regulator of public procurement to regulate any public sector entity that is expending public resources. So we can engage directly with them or engage through the standard protocol through their mother ministry. So we can go directly to the schools and write the head of...
Honorable Mnyima.
Chair, I don't know if the director submitting is aware of that if he misleads this committee, can be subject to prosecution. The ZPPA has no authority to cause expenditure in a ministry without the authority of a controlling officer. The controlling officer is responsible for the expenditure in a ministry. This training caused an expenditure on school grants. You have no authority to do that. So I beg that Chair, the Director must be guided of what he's saying, so that we can be on the same page. ZPPA, you can't just write to all the hospitals, we want to come and train your nurses in procurement. Write to all the head and provincial. You can't do that. If money has to be spent from Ministry of Education, the controlling officer is accountable. That is why the audit query did not come to ZPPA. It came, or it went to the controlling officer. So I don't know which authority. Maybe you can show us in the Act where it says that you can write to anyone, to any ministry. You have that authority.
Director, this committee is a committee of facts, and you should understand that you are under the immunity cap of Zambia. So whatever you say in this committee should be facts. You should not speculate. So Director, respond to the questions.
Thank you, Chair. That is appreciated and it's noted. But based on my knowledge of the Public Procurement Act, government entities that are recognized as a procuring entity must fulfill certain standards which have been prescribed in the Act. There must be a controlling officer at that station. There must be a procurement committee and a buying unit. So as a consequence...
Director, you can switch off your mic.
Oh,
Director, we asked questions here. Respond to our questions. We know what ZPP does, we know the mandate, and we know all those things. Kindly answer the questions.
Maybe before you respond to any questions asked by honorable members, I want to ask you a direct question. ZPPA, do you have the mandate to procure on behalf of other entities without their authority? Then you will respond to the other questions that honorable members have asked.
Thank you, Chair. ZPPA has no authority to procure any services or goods on behalf of any procuring entity. Procuring entities operate under our decentralized policy, and so they are in charge of all procurements within their charge. I submit, Chair.
So now, coming to that background, you can respond to the questions that honorable members have asked. Director, on behalf of the PS.
Thank you, Chairperson and the committee members. Yes, I think I was on the second question where we had written directly to the schools to inform them about the forthcoming training. That's what I'd responded to. Owing to that, hindsight's mandate that we have to coordinate and promote capacity building interventions. We have the mandate to write directly. Then the issue of selection of the training provider, this was not a procurement in our categorization in the public sector understanding of issues. The issue was administrative. We as an authority, we had already a prior MOU agreement with the training providers like Alliance, and based on our own situation that we're facing, we didn't have the internal capacity to do it ourselves, much as it's our mandate to carry it out. We have an MOU which has subwarranted our powers to that training provider in question to carry it on behalf of the authority. So there was no procurement per se. It was an administrative arrangement, Chair.
Honorable Mwira.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think I want to ride on especially what Honorable Mnima submitted. Director, you are presenting to people that are familiar with the ZPPA Act, with the Public Finance Management Act. Any movement of funds in this case, I wonder why you are saying it was not a procurement. First of all, let's be on the same ground that what you have with Alliance is an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, and not a contract. A Memorandum of Understanding is not a contract. You just established the relations such that if at all you need to call on their services, you now have to procure those services. So are you submitting to the committee that based on this MOU, for you, this is a contract? Is that what you are telling us? That the MOU that you have with an alliance is a contract to cause expenditures as it happened? Let's agree on those grounds. I submit, Chair.
Honorable Mnima.
Then where is that MOU that you're saying was done in 2023? Maybe Honorable Mnima, you can check the date. I didn't see it in there.
Yeah, so the MOU is here, quite all right, as an MOU. Signed on 25th of November 2024, ZPPA and Alliance Procurement and Capacity Building Memorandum of Understanding. So advise us, like I asked, if your MOU is equal to a contract. That's all.
Honorable Mnima.
The MOU was signed after the training. Confirm those dates. What sort of what were you? There was even no MOU at the time of training.
Director, do you have the copy of the MOU himself?
Chair, not on hand, but it's there on our file at the office.
So respond to the questions. Honorable Mwira has asked a question on procurement.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, in response to whether the MOU amounts to a contract, preliminarily we have considered it to be a contract that we have entered into with the training providers. And these, like I mentioned, went through some quality sieving.
Honorable Mnima.
Chair, it's clear that ZPP has nothing to say before this committee. You had no MOU You were writing to schools in August without an MOU. You signed your MOU in November. And an MOU is not a contract, sir. You can't, if you are from ZPPA, you are telling us an MOU is a contract, then we are worried that you are the regulator of procurement and you believe an MOU constitutes a contract. An MOU in this case, Chair, which never existed. On what basis here were you writing? I don't think, Chair, maybe if we keep asking, we may end up going at sea, because when they were writing to Minister of Education, they had no MOU with Alliance. So I don't know what he is explaining. Maybe we can be guided.
Maybe let me ask you, Director, the DG here. Who is Mr. Kelvin Semu? Semu? Because he's the one who signed this in November 2024. But before that, you had written to schools. That should have been somewhere in July. In July. So there was no MOU, just like honorable member is stating here. There was no MOU at that particular time. The MOU was an afterthought. So where are we? Because there's somebody who signed this agreement. Probably you can maybe shed more light than yourself. Thank you, Chair.
Did you?
Thank you very much, Chair. Mr. Kelvin Nsemu, according to my understanding, is the chairperson for Alliance capacity building. Thank you, Chair.
Honourable members, I have a proposal. Looking at time we've called them, maybe we defer it to January, so that all the parties involved, they should come on this matter. Honourable Lumai.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chairperson. I think that was the position of the committee, and now that the ZPPA people are here, maybe they can hear it for themselves, because, Madam Chair, the committee had found that ZPPA, who are supposed to be the gatekeepers, they are the people who are opening the gates to wasteful expenditure for this country, and the committee resolved that we shall meet them in January with the people involved, including also people from cabinet, secretary cabinet, so that this issue is concluded. So I wish to second your proposals earlier that this matter is rescheduled to January, so that the people involved can appear before this committee.
Honourable Mwira.
Chair, yes, as we defer this through you, I think you need to caution ZPPA if they came here to mislead the committee. Already, Chair, just from what the director submitted, they are, use this word, falsehoods, if it's parliamentary. If not, then misleading this committee, because one, to mislead this committee that there was an MOU in existence when in fact not. What did he think he was coming to tell us? Further, to say an MOU is a contract. He has not said anything truthful. Everything he has said has been to mislead this committee. Right now, he has actually abrogated Cap 12, which, Chair, we need to agree how we proceed. Because it's on record, unless we tell him that whatever he has submitted from today, he withdraws everything, then they come back. Otherwise, if he doesn't, then he has misled this committee. Clearly breached Cap 12, which must be invoked. I think this must be made known to them, Chairperson, because we can't spend this time here being misled when we know we are already Director, just for your own information. So you don't come here thinking that you are going to meet people that will just say yeah, as you hear in Parliament. Even those yeahs are well informed. Just for your own record.
Thank you, Honourable Mwira. Director, like you've heard from honourable members, can you withdraw your statement, your submission, or your submission? Can you withdraw your submission?
Thank you, Chair. All protocols observed. The submissions that I've made are formally withdrawn. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Gigi, through the office of the PS, our clerk's office, they'll write to you when to come and the people to come with. So the clerks will communicate. So for now, you can go back. And I've lifted your immunity.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, and thank you very much, members of the committee.
Thank you. PS, we continue with our business. So, honorable members, we go to page 53. Is it 53? On infrastructure development, delayed completion of rehabilitation works, Lusaka Province. Honorable Mwila.
Thank you very much, Chair. Yeah, that's page 53 as you have guided. Infrastructure, delayed completion of rehabilitation works, Lusaka Provincial Education Office. Controlling Officer, these works were delayed, and in your submission, you mentioned that the contract had expired before works could be completed. Please inform the committee why the works delayed to be completed, what led to the delay in completion, and further, what measures have you put in place to ensure that there is no further delays according to your submission? I submit, Chair.
PS, can respond to that question?
Chair, the PO can respond if you
PO Lusaka Province. You can sit in.
Thank you very much, Chair, through my permanent secretary. I wish to admit that indeed the works could not be completed on time according to the contract that was signed, and these works were labor-based. So what I want to submit before this House is that perhaps my submissions may not have been in the audit report, because at the time that I took over office, the audit had been done already. So let me just mention what has been done so far. The works involved the rehabilitation of the office premises at the PO's office, and the scope of work were to replace the ceiling boards that had given in, and also to do some painting works. So those that were not done involved painting and also replacement of the ceiling boards. Yet the materials were already in place. So as at today, 29 rooms have fully been painted and the ceiling boards replaced. Remaining with 2 rooms, and painting is in progress. Perhaps what I want to mention, like I said before, that my submission may not have been in the audit report. Where we operate from, there is limited office space, and works involving to do with the painting and the ceiling boards involved that the officer should be relocated to another premises. So I think when they were trying to negotiate to find premises where they could operate from, that could have caused delay in the completion of the works. So at the time that I took over office, I had to engage my officers so that we just come up with a schedule, alternate. Other officers are working, others are not. So that is how we have managed to do almost 90% of the works. I submit, Chair.
Any follow-up questions? Progress. Honorable Mai, failure to comply with the standards of toilets. Or this one, we can go to inadequate water points and sanitation facilities in schools, page 55.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. As guided, PS, maybe you may shed more light what you are doing to resolve this problem. Thank you, Madam Chairperson.
PS, you can respond to that question.
Thank you so much, Chair. If I can kindly ask the Assistant Director Infrastructure to respond to this question.
Director Infrastructure.
Thank you, Chair. Through the PS, the Ministry has prioritized the enhancement of water and sanitation, and it is true, due to the free education policy, that we have a lot of pupils that have come back to the schools. However, it should be noted that the Ministry currently is constructing about 82 ZIP secondary schools which have been handed over. This will help decongest most of these schools. We have about 120 secondary schools under ZIP, under construction, about 38 ECE centers, 110 satellites, and about 37 GRZ schools which are under construction. So once these constructions are done, it would decongest most of these schools where we're having these inadequate water points for these pupils. However, it should be noted also that we have cooperating partners such as CDF who have sunk boreholes in these schools, and they've also done ablution blocks. This has also increased the sanitation in most of these schools. I submit, Chair.
Honorable Mai, any follow-up question? Honorable members, we are done with this paragraph. We go to paragraph 28. Paragraph 28, we start from page page 60. Page 60. Delayed completion and commencement of phase 1, construction of EC hubs. Honorable Mwira.
Chair, thank you very much. Delayed completion and commencement of phase 1, construction of EC hubs. Chair, as the committee seeks to understand why these have delayed, I need to also mention that in fact the constituency I represent is a victim not of this finding but of a current, I'm sure the next audit report we may be talking about Mufra, because we have an EC project there which was handed over as a site to the contractor at Kalindini in about February, and that contractor only was there for about 3 months. As we speak now, he has abandoned the site. There are just materials there. So I just want to make it clear that I'm very well familiar with these kind of delays. And the followings that I made up, even with the debts there, they were just saying they have nothing to do with that contractor, so all queries why he's not there should be referred to Rusaka, which I think the officer is aware. But here is a similar case which is a finding. In all these sites, 52 early childhood education hubs, which has suffered delayed completion. Funds have been paid to almost all the contractors, but still the works have not been completed, hence finding themselves in the Auditor General's report. So PS, maybe you can update what is causing this potential loss of money in terms of payments, advance payments, and yet the contractors are abandoning the sites. And also inform the committee what the connection is when you say that the procurements were now being made with the local councils. How is the collaboration that the local council should now get involved in procuring materials for ECE hubs which are happening under education? I submit, Chair.
PS can respond to those questions.
Thank you so much, Chair. I'll just speak on the blanket, the overall situation as to what initially caused the delay, but then which we expect that at least by now things should have been okay, and the details the technocrats will go in. So the initial delay came in at the time of the initial, collaboration with the World Bank and ourselves. So there was a back and forth discussion. There were issues that had to take place and change in view of sometimes the presidential directive. I remember for EC hubs, there was an issue of we cannot even construct VIP toilets because now the president said it should be proper waterborne toilets. But the contract had already had those, so we halted it. And it was really a serious discussion with Minister of Finance. I remember that time with the minister that we should adhere to. There were also issues of at ZIP on the secondary schools. The issue of the minister also wanted modern secondary schools. That should call with the modernity of time that we shouldn't have certain infrastructure that was looking like we are still being reminded of the the colonial times, that they should be modern, they should be elaborate and so on. So with that back and forth, it took about 1 year to now agree. So it meant therefore that 1 year took back the project instead of commencing and proceeding nicely. There was a delay of that particular 1 year. But thereafter, when all things were sorted out, we expected that things would now move smoothly. And I know that in some places those problems are not there, but for the particular ones that are being cited, and the one the Honorable is alluding to in his area in Mufulira, I think I would want Chair to invite, if you can allow, there's an engineer for the copper belt, and then there's also the project coordinator who should at least assist in looking at the actual details. Thank you so much.
The engineer from the province. He's not here?
Yeah, so for the engineer for copper belt, it's the one the Honorable is talking about where the contractor ran away. For these ones, the coordinators are here for ZIP. They should be able to help us.
So the coordinators for ZIP, you can come to the front.
And the deputy coordinator for ZIP.
The coordinator for ZIP, you can respond to the questions from Honorable Muira. Who is the coordinator? Yes. You forward the questions from Honorable Muira.
Thank you, Chairperson. Through the PS, my name is Martin Liwali. I'm the coordinator for the Zambia Education Program Coordination Unit. I would like to respond specifically on the issue of the involvement of local authorities in the procurement of materials and services for for the projects that we are implementing under the Zambia Enhancing Early Learning. Chairperson, the mode of construction that we are using is that we are calling community mode of construction, and responsibility to manage the construction activities has been devolved to the schools. So at the school level we have a procurement project implementation committee that is responsible for procurement. Now in terms of procurement thresholds, the thresholds are beyond the DEBS office, not the current threshold, the earlier threshold. The DEBS only had the 20,000 kwacha threshold. Currently, the DEBS office now is establishing a procurement committee that has a threshold of 1 million kwacha. So what would then happen is that for any procurements that are beyond 20,000 kwacha, we would have to either use the local authority as permitted by the construction guidelines, because the local authorities have unlimited thresholds. Otherwise, the schools would have to go past the district and go to the provincial administration or the procurement committee at the PO's office. So in order for us to be economical, we would have to use a local approval authority. In this case, that's a local government of local authorities or the councils. And the councils they are only involved as an approval authority, not implementing the actual procurement. So the PIC or the school level would go through all the processes and come up with an evaluation report that would then be submitted to the council as an approval authority. And the guidelines for both ZIL and ZIP permit the use of local authorities for that purpose. I thank you, Chairperson.
Honorable, any follow-up question?
For the contractor that has deserted, the engineer.
What's our position?
Thank you so much, Chair. What the Honourable Member has mentioned and stated is currently the fact. We have 3 tranches of ECE projects that are running on the Copper Belt, and under 24 GIZ, there are 5, of which one of them is the one in Muflier. And this has been referred to HQ, and Director is fully aware about, as well as the ones for 2023 funding are currently running. Thank you.
Honorable Mwira.
Thank you. Having here the teething problems as explained by the controlling officer, understood that now we have revised the thresholds and the implementation of this. But I brought in my case, but it's affected by the same delay. Now, just for your attention, so that you go back and think again, which method is really going to help to avoid these delays? Because when you have brought this down to the local communities to form project implementation committees and the DEBs, you expect things to be fast, to be moving fast. But also in the case of Mufulira, that contractor was appointed, awarded, and everything was done here in Lusaka and just brought to the site. But again, that is a contractor who I know may not be the only one, but as we speak, he has run away with works maybe about 10 or 30%. So expect to come back here, controlling officer, next year to explain why that contractor has abandoned the site. So it seems that we are not sorting out these delayed completions either way, controlling officer. Just think about what really is the cause. We may be finding the reasons why they are delays, but seems like, reasons are just changing positions. Here you think that you have covered, you have sorted out, something else pops up again. It brings us to the same position. Delayed completion, abandoned.
PS, mine is a light down, Honorable question. What measures have you put in this project unit to speed up the works under this project. Yeah.
In fact, what we did, it's unfortunate that there's that. I was looking to see whether my engineer in Lusaka is aware of that. Ideally, we are supposed to be made aware. I think the reason why we have all these engineers and building officers around, whether it's at province level or district level, it's monitoring. And if there's an issue, that's why head office is supposed to be alerted, so that if it's beyond them, and especially if contracts or works are abandoned, we are supposed to know and see why, because they are in the contracts they've signed. There are all those issues that we need to take care of, and in fact it's surcharge the contractor or report the contractor or demand for it. They are all there at the time of signing. However, in terms of the delays in how they can be the works can be improved, we at one point noticed, especially for the World Bank projects, that there were indeed such delays. For the Z projects, we decided to engage World Bank, who allowed us to, I don't know whether at that site or in the other sites you've seen them, they allowed us to engage foremen, because they were community-based projects where you have just people in the area manning those building and manning all those construction works. We decided to engage foremen, and we've distributed them everywhere where the projects are. And the idea is that they now should augment and add value to what the communities are doing, because they are not just foremen. They are trained, they are engineers, and who were contracted to make sure that they augment what is lacking in those areas. Because of course, with the community, sometimes they will have a laissez-faire kind of attitude, or they will not be there. Sometimes they'll be there, and it happens. But we gave them all this to just augment and improve on the speedy process. And in fact, in helping the DEBs, we also decided, at one point, we decided vehicles should be bought. So I bought brand new vehicles, Land Cruisers, for each engineer in the province. That was number one. So each one has a Land Cruiser. They cannot even give excuses for the engineers. Then we have now decided DEBs should be also assisted. As I speak right now, we are about to receive and check 38 vehicles. We expect that also can help, because there was always a complaint of they don't have vehicles to actually go to those sites to monitor and inspect. So with these, which I'm trying to put in to just augment, I hope there will be no excuses as we go on. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Mwira.
Thank you. PS, actually, as the matter of further details, we also have in my constituency, we are benefiting from those 120 schools, the secondary schools. And with that same model, community involvement, we have the PIC and the DEBS office. That one we have no problem actually. I can tell you it is moving on very, very well. The ECE, which came from Lusaka, is the problem. And maybe just for your own information, when the matter came so hot about August, back in the constituency, because that contractor even hired the local people whom he left unpaid. So I actually took time, the minister is aware, while I was meeting the minister reporting this in his office, he called in the team. Mr. Abanti is very much aware. Yeah, so he may not have briefed you, but he can give you now all the details. He's very much aware about that contractor and the problems that we are facing. So HQ is aware. I think he can give you more details. Yeah. Thank you.
So Honorable Mwira has submitted for his constituents. He ran away from the query. However, it's almost the same questions. So Honorable Lumai on West for expenditure, change of site.
Thank you, Chair. PS on page 64, there's a query to do with the West for expenditure. In Luangwa, the team decided to engage casual workers to dig foundations for the school, and were paid 12,463, and later on this site was abandoned, and the reason is that this site was a corridor for elephants. So the committee wants to understand why this site was chosen, knowing very well that this is a corridor for elephants, and 12,000 kwacha paid, and later on the site is abandoned. And also there is an issue for obtaining materials at excessive costs. The team in Nyimba decided to procure blocks in Lusaka. When you have got blocks in Petauke, you have blocks in Nyimba itself, but they just decided to come and procure blocks in Lusaka, and were paid 5,800, the two officers, as allowance, and also they spent 140,000, which was paid to Sakapoti Enterprise for transportation of these blocks. And further, this committee has been informed by yourself that even if Chipata to Nyimba is 210 kilometers, Lusaka to Nyimba 335 kilometers, you found it fit to buy the blocks from Lusaka. So this committee is concerned that people can leave blocks in Nyimba itself, in Petauke. They decide to come and buy blocks in Lusaka and spend 140,000 on transport. So why did we have these two situations? I submit, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Mai. Honorable Mukumbi.
Thank you, Chair. Just in addition, I've just been going through your appendices here, and I don't know whether this was done for comparison purposes. You have Waza Business Solutions, and if you look at the dates there, this is 03/12/2025. Why were you obtaining this? It should have been last week or the other week, for transportation of blocks from Lusaka to Nyimba. Have you checked those dates there? So what was the purpose of this particular quotation? Thank you.
PS can respond to the questions.
Thank you so much, Chair. I'm very much alive to what transpired in all this, because really I also interrogated as a PS concerned about all these issues when they're coming up in Auditor General's report. But I think the explanations that were given appeared adequate in my view, so I would want them to be talked about in here, because I also queried that, but when the explanations were given, they really sounded quite adequate. So perhaps if we can allow the PO for Eastern Province and then the coordinator for ZIP to look at how there was that change from the Luangwa site to another, which were kilometers away, but even incurred costs because already constructions had begun and then they were abandoned. Chair, if you can allow me.
PO Eastern Province.
Thank you for the time again, Madam Chairperson. This case was discussed. In my opinion, the auditors were satisfied and recommendations were made to have the case closed. I don't know the status at the moment. That's what I know.
You had submitted everything to them. AG.
Which auditors were you dealing with? Our provincial colleagues or ourselves? Maybe let me get that clarification.
PO.
Allow me to call upon Mr. Ngurube. Mr. Ngurube, can you come and give clarifications on this? More details on this?
Maybe coordinators and you can leave the seats. Honorable Lumai.
Madam Chair, while people are organizing themselves to take positions, we have this document here for WAZA Business Solutions, which is for 3rd December 2025. So, if this issue was really closed with the auditors, then the committee will have so many concerns, because, Madam Chair, we have been to Nyimba, we have spent days in Petauke, we have been to Chipata PS, we have found blocks there. Big companies making blocks. So the concern of the committee is, why leave blocks in Nyimba, leave blocks in Petauke, leave blocks in Chipata? You come and buy blocks in Lusaka, and you pay 140,000 for transport, and 2 officers pay themselves 5,800 kwacha for an allowance for 2 days. So, and the appendix being submitted before this committee from WAZA Business Solutions is for 3rd December 2025, when this audit was done a long time ago. So, is it the position of the ministry that this document, the quotation from WAZA Business Solutions, was just to come and cover up issues before this committee? I submit to Madam Chairperson.
PS.
I think they are now ready.
PO can respond to the question.
Come on, sit.
You can sit next to him. That's Debs Nyimba.
No, it's Mr.
Sorry?
Mr.
From where?
My name is Ngulu Francis, a senior accountant, Eastern Province.
Okay.
Thank you.
You can respond to the question.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, honorable members. Through the PS, I agree with the PS submission that there is a saving of 39,914. Allow me to go through the computation of this committee of facts. The cost of blocks that were bought in Lusaka compared to Chipata, actually Chipata was more expensive by 49,914 favorable. So it's just the cost of transport that was more buying from Lusaka than in Chipata. I submit.
PS.
You asked that which auditors cleared that, so I think he needs to bring forth who cleared that.
Okay, there was a question from the Auditor General's office asking which auditors were you working with for this, who cleared the case, because your PO said that the matter was cleared.
Yes, I have the status report from the Office of the Auditor General.
Which auditors?
Auditors from the province.
From the province?
Yes, sir. Yes, Madam Chair.
So,
I have with me a copy.
You have the copy of clearance?
I have the copy where it is
so
recommended for closure. So you can give Auditor
General? Give
sure.
Auditor General. Honorable
I asked the question on these quotations. Were they for comparison purposes? Maybe the people from Eastern
So, Mr. Ngulube, you can respond the question on the quotation which was prepared on, is it 3rd December? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chair. This quotation was collected because there was that discrepancy where they're saying how much are blocks this time and how much were blocked that time. So this quotation was collected on 3rd December 2025 in comparison against the 2024. I submit.
So where's the quotation for 2024? You have it. So looking at the dates, the The auditors came to your office earlier this year, and that quotation was for December. So who were you giving the quotation to, if you were cleared by Auditor General?
Actually, I was surprised too to see this in the report. So that's why now they said, no, why can't you just get the quotation, the previous ones, and the current prices? What are the prevailing prices? So that one quotation was collected for comparison purpose. I submit, Chair.
When you saw the query in the Auditor General report, that's how we thought of this quotation, so that you do the comparison of the other quotation you got last year. Because it's not adding up. It's not adding up. Because the auditors came to your office, and according to you are saying you were cleared. So at what point did you make a decision to get a quotation in December?
When we were informed that it was still outstanding. When we saw it in the auditor's report, the final report.
AG, maybe you can guide us? Okay. Okay. So the Auditor General, they are checking on something. They will guide us. PS?
My view was that, I don't know, sometimes they get confused when they see things popping up and yet they were cleared. Ideally, what should have happened is that they should have stuck, because there was already a verification that was done. So when they saw this, they should have just said there was that verification, it was done, than thinking, oh, now it has popped up. So here they should have just been justifying that the verification was done, and then they look at those verification. So it's like now getting scared, it's back in here, they start looking, it was not necessary.
And PS, he's saying that the auditors were from the province. So when you saw that query in the Auditor General's office, what you needed to do was to work with the auditor in the province, so that he can communicate to say this issue has been cleared, unlike you coming with a quotation for December here. Because as we are not auditors, we are not here to verify any document. Our role is to check on what has been verified by the Office of the Auditor General. That's how we come up with questions. So your quotation, we don't need it. It's not part of our documents. So can you withdraw that quotation?
I withdraw, Chair.
Yeah. So the auditor, AG, you can guide us on.
Thank you very much, Chair. The process is that this ZIU is not done only at headquarters, it is done also in the provinces. But the final position is given to the Permanent Secretary as a status report which is consolidated. So what happens is the provinces may have engaged with the client, but there was a challenge because it was not final. So the final position is the one that came up from here, the headquarters, when we consolidated everything. We do evaluate again their submissions. So according to our submission and evaluation, according to the quality controls we have, is that the status is that the query is outstanding. It was still outstanding. You were just having that was not the final position, and this document you have produced was not the final position. It was just in the field as a working paper. So after going through the rigorous quality control procedures, this was felt that it should be still outstanding. So I submit. Thank you.
Honorable Lumai.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. PS, when you look at these quotations, there's this one for Waza Business Solutions, which is saying unit price to transport blocks, 5 blocks. One block is 28,500. Yeah. So then this is for Waza, which I believe this is in Nyimba district. So it is 142,000. This is Nyimba. Then you have another one, which is Kacholola Systems. I believe this must be in, is it Lusaka? I don't know. It is 26,000. That is 130. And all they are bearing the same date, 3rd December 2025. Then you have another quotation for this other company, which is also coming to 29,000 kwacha, that is 145. So if the accountant is withdrawing, it's just good that he withdraws all these quotations, because they are not helping to resolve the query. Because if he's saying he got this one because he saw the report in the Auditor General, it is also not possible that someone can get quotations in Lusaka, Nyimba, Chipata on the same day. So it's just good that maybe all these quotations, they are withdrawn.
I've forgotten his position. Mr. Pio. Pio can explain on this position.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. The beauty is that the head is here and the Debs is here as well, and those things are happening in their district, so maybe allow him to come over and explain.
The Debs is here?
Yeah.
For Nyimba?
They are both around here.
Debs, Nyimba, and also the headmaster for the school? The Debs for Nyimba can come to the front. Where is the Debs for Nyimba? Or is outside? Mr. Ngulube, what's your position?
I'm senior accountant, Chair.
Senior?
Accountant.
But even in accounts, do you get quotations when you see the query in the Auditor General's report? You start running around to get quotation to convince who?
Not that, Chair. I'm sure the one for Waza I explained. This other one that the honorable member said it's for 2025, it's not actually 2025. The date is 2024. I submit, Chair.
So where is the debt? Who is the debts there? The madam? Okay. Outside you are following in the proceedings, eh? Is there a mic which is on?
Yes, I was following, Chair.
So you can respond to the query.
The receipts were a replacement of the old ones that were not visible.
Which receipts?
The ones that were...
The quotations?
Yes, the quotations that were done on the 3rd of December 2025.
Were a replacement of the old quotations?
Exactly.
She will just mislead herself. Madam Debs, this is a committee of facts. Tell us the truth. The repressing for what? The senior accountant, he said that he collected those quotations after seeing the query in the Auditor General's report. You are telling us you are repressing. You are repressing with what?
Allow me to call the accountant that was there.
Which accountant?
For the district, and the head teacher is here.
The head teacher for the school? Maybe you can respond to the query. PS, this audit was at provincial level. All the documentation were submitted to the auditors by the people at the province. So when you talk of these quotations, they were collected by the people at the province. A senior accountant, the quotations you had given us, who collected them? Is it the headmaster or the Debs or at the province?
Thank you, Chair. It was at the school.
At?
It was collected by the PIC Holding Committee.
Switch off your mic.
It was collected by the PIC committee at the school.
The PIC committee at the school?
Yes, that's where all quotations were collected.
So, honorable members, we just have to come up with a position as a committee on this query. Yes. Because already the Debs, she's at sea.
The Debs is at sea, sorry, I can speak for her, not that I want to protect her. She must be about 2 months or so old.
Yeah, so like we said that this is a house of facts. If you are not aware of something, you say I don't have information, and like telling us giving us wrong information.
I'm sorry, Chair, withdraw.
Honorable, we move. We'll have a position on the query. Honorable Wamunyema, failure to procure labor for construction, Chizela Primary School.
Thank you, Chair. Controlling Officer, you submitted that the budget shortfall resulted from an initial oversight at Chizela Primary School in Fumbwe District. You further submitted that the Project Implementation Committee secured additional funding to cover labor costs, allowing work to resume and continue according to the revised schedule. Now, what motivated the school to procure building materials upfront without labor costs, and where the district building officer and the district planning officer involved in the management of this project? Thank you, Chair.
PO Northwestern Province. Debs Nyimba, headmaster, you can leave the seat. And PO Eastern Province also, so that we create space for Mfumbwe, Debs, PO Northwestern Province. And if the headmaster for this school is there, Chizela Primary School, Mfumbwe, Debs, is she or he there? So PO can respond that question. Did you come with your Debs?
No, I've come with the senior accountant.
Okay, senior accountant, you can join the PO.
Thank you, Chair. I'll just highlight then the senior accountant will come in. At this school, what happened, the funding was for only up to gable level. But I think the PIC bought materials up to roofing level. And that's what caused the shortfall of labor, and that's why they asked for additional funding that should cover the labor part. And as we speak, the school is at roofing level now because they already bought the materials for roofing. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Wamnyema.
What informed the over procurement? Because that is the query. Why are you over procuring beyond the level? You even know at what level is the ceiling. Was it innovation, or what was it? The committee wants to understand.
Senior accountant. And my follow-up question will be, was the building officer involved in this project as we are doing the procurement of material?
Good afternoon, Chair. Through PS, the over-procurement of materials at Chizera Primary School was due to the procurement of roofing materials. This was done at the school. As you know, the procurement system, it starts with the school. Then at PO's office, it's just the authority that PO gives to go ahead with the procurement. So we didn't have a hand to see how the school had procured the over procurement of materials. I submit, Chair.
Chair, I'm at sea now, because why are you paying for something you have no hand in procurement? You just pay. As long as you are being given pay, we pay. The issue is you're over procured, arising from this query. Why were you over procuring? That's the question. It's not the who has authority and so on. Who is the project manager here to check? Because you before you address labor costs, you went to another phase. That's the concern of, that's the query we want addressed.
Good afternoon, Chair. Through PS, I want to indicate to the House that the management of funds, it's at the school level. At PO's office, it's just the authority to give for the school to go ahead with the procurement. But the management of funds is at school level. I submit, Chair.
I can come in again?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like what the senior accountant is indicating, this is the management is done by the PIC, of course with oversight from the DEBS and the PEO. You do agree that at that time we didn't have supervisors on these stations, and that's why the controlling officer at some point was indicating that the ministry has now employed 4 men who even have more information to help understand and to help supervise these projects at the local level. I think that's where the situation was. For us, we only noticed that actually the works have stalled because they had no money to pay for material. That's when we discovered that the issue was because they went ahead to procure for the stages that were above what was funded. I submit, Chair.
Do we have a building officer in the district, Mfumbwe?
The building officer was there, but I think he's resigned.
Honorable members, any follow-up question on this query? Honorable Wamnyema.
Chair, maybe the controlling officer can give clarity to this submission, since there has been a submission that there was no supervisor, and now we are being told the building officer resigned. Should we worry on this, how these projects will, because this is money is being spent? Maybe we need clarity from the controlling officer on these issues.
PS, we can respond to the clarification.
Chair, maybe the only, okay, fine. From a technical point of view, ideally it should have been that because there were BOQs, they should have been following purchases according to the BOQs. But of course, maybe because they are saying there was no one who was technical enough, and these were community-led projects, they were just purchasing. But if there was someone who, like now, the way we've put in foremen and so on. They can read into the BOQ and procure stage by stage, because every money that is sent, it's according to the level, each level. When the level is done, then there's a report is given, we go and inspect to see that everything was spent according to the BOQ. So I think maybe because there was no one to do that, and these are community-led projects, that could have happened.
PS, I'd like to believe that these are the same zoo projects, which we also have in Western Province.
They are the same.
Yes.
In fact, they are the same.
So, Chair, if this is the same, there is no way that the community can do procurement, because there's a committee established, and in fact, PS, the council is involved. The local authority, I have one similar project, and the local authority is involved. Where was the local authority in this particular incident? Director engineering is there for the zoo project, for example, Chair, in constituency. The director engineering helps in supervision. Director engineering from the council. So what happened here? I think it's important to understand how going forward you won't have this repeat itself.
PO, can respond to the PS?
Thank you, Chair. Through the PS, I think the situation, like it has been indicated, yes, this is community based, but we have the officers from the DEB's office. We also have the council that are closer. But I think the issue is, as they submitted their bids, those were valid in terms of procurement. It was only discovered that actually that over procured when we reached that stage of raising there was no money for it, but the materials were there. But I think with now also the deployment of procurement officers at the district level, this is what is coming now to help strengthen.
Maybe before he concludes, there are already procurement officers at district level. Unless if you say specific for this project, but each local authority has a procurement officer in this country to help where there's a gap in any project. All councils have a procurement. So I don't know this new deployment you're talking about, because there is unless if you mean specific for this zoo, but in terms of technical procurement people, they are there in all the districts, 116 districts.
PO.
Yes, Chair, through the PS. I was referring our own procurement officer in the Ministry of Education. I think that has, notwithstanding that the local authority also have, but having our own is also strengthening to bridge up the gaps that were there in the procurement processes.
PS, you can conclude the query.
Chair, thank you so much. Well, I know that for the Ministry of Education we didn't have procurement officers, which now we have provided. We have provided in all the areas, so it shouldn't be an excuse, because that was another problem. So we have now deployed procurement officers, hoping that there should be no excuse, even if at local level they should have utilized those. But sometimes what I've noticed, what I get from when I'm being told, when they are busy with their local issues there, ours will be in secondary. It's not something that they will really, direct their minds to. They will rather first do their work, and then us, it's an afterthought to help us. So we notice all those lapses, and I think that's why we said, okay, accountants should be in place to replace teachers who are just accountants, and now have professionals, professional procurement officers. We have now deployed them. So we hope that going forward, that will actually help drastically. Thank you so much.
Thank you, honorable members. Extensive procurement of building material, that's the one we've done. So, honorable members, we go to head 29. Paragraph 29, head 80. No. Page 69. Page 69. That one is on. Page 69. Honorable Wamnyema. On audit of annual performance, that's page 71.
Controlling officer, we note that the majority of the activities carried forward from previous years as well as subsequent activities have been implemented as of 30th October 2025, and you mentioned there the amount that has been used. Now, what was the total dispersed amount as at 30th October, and how much of that amount has been used as of that date? Then, other than Matero and Chikonkwelo sites that have not been executed, how do you intend to complete the rest of the revised projects end of 31st December 2025?
This is Rusaka province. PS can respond to the question.
Yes, Chair, allow me to call the Assistant Coordinator, Mr. Kasaji, and the accountant for the project.
The accountant for the project. You can use the mic.
I'm the deputy project coordinator for ZIP.
Okay.
I am the project accountant, Kotrin Zulu.
Okay. So you can respond to the questions asked by Honorable Wamnyema.
Thank you, Chair. The question on the finances, the accountant will respond, but I will respond on one for the two sites where works have not commenced. The two sites had issues, very serious issues. The Rusaka site, we could not secure enough land where to build the secondary school. So that process actually has delayed, and up to now, land has not been secured. Then the bank recommended that if Lusaka province is unable to secure land, then maybe we can forget about that project. So which means that money is still intact. And then we have the Chikonkwelo in Northwestern Province, where the two sites actually were in conflict, because each community wanted the school to be on their side. And that wrangle took long. It was only about 3 months ago when the two communities agreed that they can go ahead with that project at Chikonkwelo. By the time the decision was being arrived at, the World Bank had already issued an instruction that the project is about to close. So if they can begin to build now, when will they close? When will they finish the project? So that is how that project also has not been constructed. But of course, there are a number of activities, project activities, that have not been completed. So we brought the matter to the attention of the ministry, and the ministry engaged the Ministry of Finance so that maybe the project could be extended to allow for the planned activities to be completed. And the Minister of Finance agreed and wrote to the World Bank, and that is where we are now. In that case, when the ministry met with the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Finance indicated that even the two sites that where works have not started should commence constructions coming 2026. Now, which means for Chikonkwero, for Kabompo, the site is already there. What it simply means to do, what it is now is to simply go and engage the community so that the go-ahead is given by the community. But for Lusaka, a letter has been drafted to the Provincial Education Office by the Permanent Secretary so that they can begin to look for land. So that maybe January comes, that land should be found, then we can disperse the money and the constructions can start. I submit.
Honorable Wamima, any follow-up question?
Waiting for the accountant to make a response.
The accountant.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, everyone. I would like to submit that, as you may be aware, project activities are carried forward when they are not implemented. So those activities which were not implemented previously, they were carried forward into the current year. So the World Bank disbursed 25 million US, which we executed to undertake those activities that were not carried forward. I submit, Chair.
Chair, the question was, what was the total disbursed amount as of 31st October 2025, and how much of that amount has been utilized as of today? In terms of figures. Yes.
Okay, the total disbursed up to 30th October was 25 million US, which is equivalent to 687 million 423,096 kwacha 57 ngwe. That's the total amount that has been disbursed from the World Bank, and all this was utilized for those activities that were not undertaken. I submit, Chair.
Okay. We progress. Project implementation progress. That's page what? That's page what? Honorable Mai. Fiscal verification. File. The bond.
Let me go ahead, Chair. I think it's the same,
yes.
Same sequence. Yeah, Chair. PS, let's go to page from 74 through to 75. And mine has to do with the expired advance payments and securities. I think it starts from 72, Honorable Mayor, you come through, yeah. Now, there are 4 companies there that are the issues. And in your response, you are saying Sunshine, Bohos, and the SMR contractors finished the job. But we are concerned with the 2, that Masam Construction and Kayombo. So what is the current status of the contracts in terms of performance? So where are we? Because our main interest first is to ensure that these contracts are done. Okay, so where are we? That's number one. Number two, was any due diligence done by your officers before awarding contracts to these two companies? Because I believe these ones have completely failed. Okay? So, and then how do you intend to recover the advance payments you had given to them, if at all they have failed? But I know they have failed anyway. So how do you intend to recover the advance payments? And also in your response, PS, you are saying due to lapse of time, weaknesses in the contract management, disciplinary action was taken against the officer responsible. So when you say this, the disciplinary action was taken, what action is this? Do you fire them from employment, or did you suspend them, or they're still working, they were transferred to another place? So I have 4 questions there. Chair, I submit.
PS, Honorable Mwira.
Thank you, Chair, because it's the same finding, talking about non-renewal of bonds, to also the results that came out of the physical verification. So, controlling officer, the physical verification, as the audit report reveals, that they found there were 11 boreholes that had not been drilled, and the 3 boreholes that had been drilled but were not equipped with hand pumps, and then the 6 were dry boreholes. So I take note of your submission that you have transferred, you have disbursed funds through the provinces. So just confirm that now these 11 and the 3 and the 6, all in all, I think this comes to 19 or so, or 20, that you have now allowed the provinces to go ahead to procure drilling services, those that don't have equipment, to equip them. And what is the cost implication, having now moved from centralized procurement as it was to the provinces? I submit.
So, PS, I think there are 6 questions from honorable members.
I think for these questions, for them to be given justice and the proper way of answering, the project have a portion to take, and then I think we'll have procurement who have a portion to take, and the engineer who has a portion to take. They all know which portion they should take. Thank you, Chair. The project first.
Thank you, Chair.
Coordinator can respond to questions.
Thank you, Chair. In terms of selection for the drillers, Chair, the due process was followed, and the Ministry Program Committee sat actually and selected these drillers. In fact, Chair, when you look at the drillers, these are reputable institutions, and we expected that they would actually do a very good job. Of course, we were disappointed that things didn't work out the way the ministry actually thought. So there was nothing wrong in terms of selection. The due process was followed. It's just unfortunate that the performance was not as expected. But on the other aspects, maybe my procurement officer, Mr. Mwira, on the expiry of the bonds, can come and explain further. I submit, Chair.
Procurement officer, you can join the coordinator.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, honorable members. I'm Anton Mwira, procurement specialist. On the expiry of the bonds, I think it's more to do with the contract management. Each contract has the contract manager. As a procurement specialist, I entered procurement, and then we also appoint through the PS the contract manager for each of the contract. Suffice it to say, we wrote to all the drillers before the bonds expired. Like it has been mentioned in the report, the drillers, they mentioned to say since they have completed the drilling, they could not renew their performance bonds, and in fact we are holding 5% retention for them. The other two did not even one responded, indicating that he will be able to renew the bonds, but he did not honor his word. I submit, Chair.
So for the other one who said, the two who said that the project has come to an end, they continue, was there official communication for both? Because these are government projects. You don't just use gentleman's agreement. You do communication so that even if you leave the office, someone who comes tomorrow, they will know where to start from. Was there any communication to do the bonds?
Yes, there was communication which we did. I think.
So do we have those documents?
Should have. Accountant did it.
The accountant.
We put as the evidence those letters which we wrote to Melsam, and this, the emails which Melsam wrote to us.
You don't talk to each other, you talk through me. So
yes, Chair, Chair, thank you.
On the other side.
Yes, Chair, I remember actually when we were compiling the responses, all those pieces of evidence were put together and put on the file.
Do we have any appendix to that effect? Accountant, you can respond. You wanted to say something when we were sitting.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. The appendices, they are attached. They were provided on the emails which were communicated to the suppliers. I submit.
Okay, I've seen this one. The written charge letter for failure to manage contractual obligation resulting in expiry of performance bonds. So, honorable members, any questions? There was also a question from Honorable Mwila to do with physical verification. You have not responded to that question, Coordinator. Because there were 6 questions. Honorable Mwila, can repeat the question?
Thank you, Chair. So my question was that the findings that selected physical inspections, it was found that 11 boreholes had not been drilled, and the 3 boreholes which had been drilled but were not equipped, 6 were drilled but turned out to be dry boreholes. Now the response from the controlling officer is that the funds have been disbursed through the provinces. So my question was, does this mean that all these, the 11, the 3 and the 6 will now be done at provincial level? And what is the cost implication arising from the fact that these were centrally procured, though now turned out to have failed, but now given or delegated to the provinces? How does it turn out in terms of cost implications on the project?
PS.
Chair, thank you so much. It was very clear at the time we were undertaking these projects that perhaps the best that should have been done is to have drillers undertake these jobs where they are in the districts. So we actually contract drillers in the district rather than having drillers coming all the way from Lusaka. We thought maybe that was causing a problem and could also reduce on costs. So that agreement was done, and this is exactly what we have done. But as to the cost implication, I can allow the infrastructure director to speak to that, because I think all that was took place, and even how then we arrived at that also he could be able to explain. Thank you so much.
Director Engineer.
Thank you, Chair. Through the PS. First of all, I'll start with the question that was answered, that was queried on how the ministry will recover the funds for the contractors who have not performed. I think for these two, Mausam and Kayombo Tech, the ministry, for Mausam, the ministry terminated the contract in October last year, and for Kayombo Tech, since they failed to perform, both of these drillers were reported to ZPPA, and upon advice from Attorney General's office, we were advised that there's a department that deals with getting back money that has been gotten and works have not been done. So we wrote to Attorney General to report these two contractors so that government money could be recovered. Now on the actual cost implication, because these ones were allotted initially, so the cost of doing drilling in one lot by one contractor may, if we're to do a cost comparison, may seem to be a bit cheaper than getting individual drillers, because basically the driller will load everything together, then he will try as much as possible to maximize profit as he goes. However, the actual figures in cost implication, I do not have them with me here, so I beg that I do not speculate. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Any follow-up question? We go to page 77, Honorable Wamnyima. Question about award of contracts.
PS, you have submitted that the 5-year construction experience requirement in the bidding document was not reflected in the EGP system, which only captured experience in drilling and equipping boreholes. PS, who was responsible for ensuring that the bidding criteria from the bidding documents were accurately uploaded onto the EGP system? Who was responsible for that? How did this omission occur?
PS, we can respond to questions.
Thank you, Chair. The head procurement can clarify on that one.
Head procurement from, okay.
Thank you so much. My name is Afet Pongola and I'm the head of procurement at the headquarters. Let me just put facts on the table so that you are able to guide us accurately. Suffice to say the procurement was done under the project, and the coordinator and the procurement specialists are the same ones that are seated there. The bidding document was done at the project, and there was a criteria item that bidders were supposed to meet 5 years experience in construction. That was what was in the hard copy of the bidding document. And that bidding document normally is cleared. But at the time of now uploading it into the system, EGP, the same officer realized that this was a mistake because the requirement of 5 years experience in construction, this was not construction. This procurement was drilling of boreholes, not construction. So he uploaded now on the experience. What was uploaded was experience in drilling and in drilling of boreholes. Just experience in drilling of boreholes. So when it came to evaluation, they evaluated all the bidders using the criteria that came out in the EGP. And that criteria didn't have the 5 years experience in construction. It had just years of experience in drilling. Experience in drilling. So they were all evaluated, including this bidder, based on experience in drilling. And this bidder in particular gave experience in drilling. I think their documents are attached. That is how they were finally given the award. So the query is coming in that there was a contradiction between the hard copy of the bidding document and what was uploaded in the EGP. So if they were to apply that one in the hard copy, then it would not be ideal, because you only evaluate based on what criteria has come in the system. However, having said that, I just wanted to make a clarification. The officers are there to, since the procurement was done under the project. I submit.
The coordinator.
Thank you, Coordinator. May I also invite my specialist to explain further on that aspect? I submit, Chair.
Procurement specialist.
Thank you, Chair. The head procurement has correctly clarified the issue. Chair, in fact, if we had used 5 years construction, we would have picked any of the contractors, because these are drillers who are registered with WAMA. Construction these are contractors who are registered with the NCC. That's why in the EGP it was the 5 years construction was not picked, but by mistake it was not deleted in the hard copy when it was being uploaded on the EGP. I submit.
So why was the information not given to the auditors when they came on site?
Thank you, Chair. When we were in Kabwe, I did allude to that to the auditors, but at that time they requested to say, can you give us evidence that actually the construction criteria was not on the EGP, but at that time the EGP was down, so I couldn't give evidence. That's why you have seen the evidence has been attached.
Okay. And follow-up question? We progress. Honorable Lungu, supply and delivery of home economics equipment, failure to deliver.
Thank you, Chair. This is a contract which were given to 3 companies, and as of 11 October and December 2024, it was observed that 2 companies never delivered anything.
when you come to controlling officer's submission, the auditor's findings are acknowledged and wish to submit that Luansha Agro, Black Diamond and Leslie Howard investment have completed the deliveries. My follow-up question would be, why is this information not delivered, was not availed at the time of auditing? I submit.
PS.
Chair, the project.
The project coordinator.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, we acknowledge the findings from the auditors. At the time when the auditors went in the field, a number of schools had not yet received the materials. That's the time when the suppliers were actually delivering the materials. And later on, I think about August or so, then many suppliers reported that they had completed delivering the materials. And October, we delegated the provincial education officers to verify the presence of these materials in the schools. And the verification has been done and the reports have come. We are verifying the reports. But the reports that we have is that most of the companies have now delivered the materials to the schools. I submit, Chair.
So you have the documents? The delivery documents, you have them? Okay.
At that time when the audit was taking place, I think the status quo was in the manner it's being alluded. So we have to now at least give you the latest position. I know at that time it was not the way it was the way they found it. So we've attached already at Appendix 40 to show that has been done.
So what needed to happen, PS, was before you came here, even last week, you would have sent them to Auditor General so that they verify and then they cancel the query. And like waiting for us to start asking questions. Honorable Lungu, follow-up question.
Thank you, Chair. I have appendix here for the goods where they are attached, where the goods were delivered. PS, this contract was given last year, 2024, and the goods were only delivered this year in October. What necessitated the delay from last year to this year? As a Chair.
The coordinator can respond.
Chair, thank you so much for that clarification. Most of these suppliers get the materials outside the country, and when they bring them in the country, some of them do not have where to keep the materials, so they request sometimes the ministry, and which some of them did. So a space was given for them to keep the materials. So now it took them time actually to get the materials from the warehouse in Lusaka to the provinces, because there were a lot of negotiations, because they had to negotiate with the contract, they have some contract the other people to take the materials to the schools, because the contract that we sign is that they must take the materials to the schools. But now, because that becomes an expense on them, so what they do is when they bring the materials here, and then later on they look for transporters so that these materials can be taken to the schools. So that is actually what caused the delay. It is the subcontracting to the transporters to take the materials to the schools. But many of them actually materials, they brought them in the country in time. I submit, Chair.
But the contract was between you and the supplier. Then the subcontractor came in just for transportation. Is that a position?
That's yes, Chair. But and that was not our part, Chair, because with us the contract was between us and the supplier.
Yes.
Yes, and that contract includes the transportation of the materials to the schools.
Yeah, what I want to understand, Deputy Coordinator, is that you said that the material arrived in the country, but the challenge was transporting them to schools because of subcontracting transporters. That is your submission. So my follow-up question would be, if the material was in the country, were in the country in Lusaka, and the issue was to transport, why didn't they communicate with you that we have the material here, but we are working on the transport? Because the issue of you saying everything delayed because of transport is not an issue. Because the contract was between you and the supplier, not the transporter.
They actually did communicate, but the only issue that as to how they would transport those things, that's their problem. They did communicate that my materials were already in Lusaka. But the only problem is that because the contract was specific, we can only recognize that contract right up to taking the items to the school and not where they've brought them in the country. So we're waiting for that, and that's the delay that took place. Because the only recognition could be they've delivered right up to source.
Chair, it's a similar question, but there are two questions here, or two observations here. It's failure to deliver home economics equipment and then under delivery, because others did deliver something but they didn't complete. So these are the ones we are interested in now. Have they fully delivered? That is under delivery of home economics. Have they? And what were the reasons advanced by those suppliers? Because you have made 15,000 and they only deliver half. Why deliver in piecemeals and not in full? Thank you, Chair.
Coordinator.
Thank you. Chair, may I ask the procurement officer to clarify?
Procurement specialists.
Thank you, Chair. In terms of delivery, most of them, they have delivered everything, except that we are still going through the reports that came. So it's very difficult to confirm which ones have not been yet delivered. But for those which we have verified, most of them they delivered all the items, but we are yet to complete the verification exercise because there are so many items which were in each school.
So maybe just for interest's sake, what type of equipment are those?
Chair, there are various types. Home economics equipment would stem from utensils, pots, materials, everything that has got to do with home economics, and they're in bulk. There are a lot.
Just confirm that you haven't paid the 75% remaining. You haven't paid as of now, right?
Chair, I'm confirming we have not yet paid. We only pay when we are satisfied. Delivery has been made, an inspection has been done. Delivery, goods notes, what do you call it? The procurement terms is submitted. That's when now, in fact, when they even come in, I even still send it to the procurement, and I'm very detailed about that, the head procurement, confirm that before I even approve, all these things have been delivered. Then when he does in writing, he doesn't even put it verbally, in writing, I then proceed to pay. So we haven't.
Honorable Wamnyima, delivered goods not meeting technical specification, Lusaka province.
Thank you, Chair. PS, we have here Cameron Investment admitting to deliver a measuring cup that did not meet the specifications and accepted to be paid the final amount less the cost of the item. PS, I have the following. Number one, who was responsible for the technical inspection of the delivered equipment? Why were the goods received if they did not meet specifications?
PS, you can respond to 2 questions.
Chairperson is a procurement specialist that should attend to this. Thank
Procurement specialist.
Thank you, Chair. Each school has a home economics teacher. They are the ones who are receiving the items. Suffice to say, the verification exercise which was undertaken in October, we requested the province to check not only the quantities but also the quality of the items. So we are still verifying so that appropriate action can be taken. I thank you.
Any follow-up question, Honorable?
I just want him to, in terms of inspection, who did you say was in charge?
The specialist home economics teachers at each school, because they are the ones who they know these items.
So in this case, controlling officer, where a home economics teacher receives a wrong item, what is the recourse? Are they being disciplined for this, or it's okay? They can make a make a mistake.
Sometimes the mistake is not by the teacher should have specified exactly what they want. The one who delivers, the supplier, is the one who could have made that mistake. It gets to source, they will say, but this is not exactly what we wanted. What you wanted is this. So in that case, normally it's the supplier.
So ideally, when you receive something that you didn't order, you are not supposed to receive it. So why are they receiving and issuing GRVs, good received vouchers, for something that does not meet specifications?
I'll allow the head procurement because he will give exactly what took place.
Head procurement.
Thank you so much once more. Like it has been lightly observed, initially what was expected was that in each school there was already this home economics specialist teachers. They were the ones who were told to receive, and in receiving they were supposed to the contract that the supplier was going with what they were receiving. So the and the delivery notes they received, and if suppliers wanted to be paid, so when the demand for payment came to headquarters, I think payments were Finance Department did raise a red flag. They were of the view that even when it was the teachers, these were teachers very high, so they did the together with the team from the province. They started raising issues to say, we have discovered and that's
but in them threatening legal actions, they are right. You received, that's when it's like an afterthought. Was there a credit note issued upon the realization that these were not the specified goods for the areas where the inspection has been done? I don't know whether have you raised credit notes so that you should be seen to follow procurement procedures.
Head procurement.
Yes, for all those reports that came back indicating that the items were not according to specifications, the suppliers were contacted and told to, if they were to be paid, they have to replace. And this is where some of them, like Cameron you have put in, you are talking about, comes in place, because he was saying, no, before you pay me for what you have said is right, because I need my money, as you are verifying, as we are replacing the others. So indeed they were informed. Because that's the procedure. If it was made by the teachers who were receiving and issuing goods received vouchers. Because if you go like Honorable is indicating, I did indicate in the ministry that if they go to court, we may lose because we issued the goods received vouchers. So indeed they've been informed to replace the defective items. Thank you.
Honorables, we'll progress. Honorable Mwila, failure to deliver equipment.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Controlling officer, this is to do the supply and delivery of laboratory equipment and reagents. So on page 82 of your memoranda, it's highlighted that selected schools, the verification, physical verification in selected schools, which was done in May during the audit process, it revealed that laboratory equipment and reagents valued at 8.6 million kwacha had not been delivered to all 82 schools. In your submission, PS, you have said that a warning letter was issued to the supplier. So the question is the warning letter the only contractual remedy that is there? What other contractual remedies that are there for a contractor who has failed to deliver to all these 82 schools equipment and reagents worth 8.6? Is the contract still tenable with this kind of failure to deliver? I submit, Chairperson.
PS, you can respond to questions.
It's a procurement specialist.
The procurement specialist.
Now, thank you, Chair. There are 4 contract suppliers. 3 of them have delivered. Only one is the one who has not delivered. Our next move is to report through the PS, to report the supplier to ZPPA and also to Attorney General, so that we can recover the advance payment. I submit.
Honorable Mwira.
Thank you, Chairperson. That response, procurement teams. What provision did you use to send a warning letter? Because I find it strange that a contract where they failed to deliver, all you do is to send a warning letter. Because there is liquidated damages, there is termination. Now I'm hearing of a warning letter. It's very strange. What provision is there? And do we have the contract? I'm trying to check in the appendices.
Through the PS, the procurement specialist.
Allow the head procurement.
Or head procurement.
Thank you so much for that observation. Indeed, the normal channel is that when a contract is signed, there are 2 documents that are demanded from the supplier. This is the advance payment guarantee, if you are paying advance, and also the performance guarantee. That is in terms when they fail to perform, then you are able to punish them by getting the performance guarantee. The difficulty, I think, that arose is that by the time this supplier was noted that he has failed, the securities were expired, had expired. So where the securities are expired, it becomes very difficult to recover government money. And the only way now is where you find we are writing to the Attorney General to guide so that maybe even arresting of that particular supplier can take place. But the difficulty was that I think the project had the contract managers allowed the securities to elapse. So I submit.
Honorable Mwira.
Thank you. So I was getting to that point you have said in the end. Who was the contract managing this? And so they can tell us how they allowed contract to expire, not delivery, bonds expired. Are they here with us? So they can tell us they are part of the story. Where were they?
PS. To the procurement, head procurement, the procurement specialist.
The contract manager was the component 2 coordinator. I think she's not here.
But who was supervising? Who was supervising the contract manager?
And to the supervisor, to the contract manager? The project coordinator.
Chair, when the contracts were given, a contract manager was identified and was written to being appointed as a contract manager. That is Engineer Mkandawile. She's the one that has been managing this contract. I submit, Chair.
So is the engineer Mkandawile? He's not here? Honorable, the minister is not giving us answers.
Chair,
Honorable
who supervises Engineer Mkandawile?
Who supervises Engineer Mkandawile?
Chair, I supervise the engineer.
So as a supervisor, you should know what is happening with the project. You can't be supervising something you don't know. Honorable Mwira. No, sorry. Can ask one.
So Chair, can the director
coordinator project
can you explain why you allowed this? This was under watch, and the government is at risk of losing. The performance bonds have expired. You are now writing warning letters as if it's employee-employer relationship. This doesn't work that way. Can you explain why you allowed this?
Honorable Mwira.
And just a follow-up. These laboratory equipment and reagents, there were 4 contracts. Discover, Mira, Advance, Quantum, and Biogenics. All in all these contracts valued 8.6. And it's clear that there was no follow-up altogether. It had to take the audit, because after the audit is when you are reporting that you did a follow-up. After the audit, because the audit just highlighted that nothing was delivered from 4 different suppliers. All of them did not deliver anything. Now it's like we are waking up during the audit. Then you go into the schools and then you say, oh, these 3 have delivered except Biogenics. So why did you allow such a thing? Because it's like these contracts were forgotten, completely forgotten, until the auditors stepped in. Why did you allow the contract manager whom you supervise directly to let this happen? Because potentially it's a loss of public funds we are talking about here. So why did you allow it?
Coordinator projects, you can respond to the questions.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, our experience actually has been nasty with the suppliers. Chair, when we are dealing with the, I'm sorry to mention this, when we are dealing with the foreign entities, we have no issues in terms of execution or in terms of delivery of services or goods, whatever that you have with them. But Chair, when we are dealing with our own brothers and sisters, those engagements, Chair, are always there from time to time. We negotiate, we call them, talk about and so on and so forth. But it becomes sometimes very difficult. Yes. But in terms of follow-ups, negotiations...
What's the point of order?
Chair, I don't think the assistant coordinator understands the issue here. The issue is not who you contract. The issue is supervising. Has this officer who failed, who saw these insurance bonds expire, have they been charged for failure to supervise this contract? Because to say when we deal with no, that is our issue is being on top of the job, knowing that by 20th these bonds will expire. If we don't encash these bonds, government will lose out money. That is what we are asking here. Why did you fail to ensure that the officer you supervise does not allow a contractor fails to deliver and you allow performance bonds to expire? Not who you hire, no, that's immaterial to the issue. It's not even the query.
Director, coordinator.
Thank you, Chair. The officer was not charged. I think that was an oversight. But suffice to say that each time when this officer was engaging with the suppliers, being informed. Yes, except that when time elapsed, I did not charge the officer. But everything that was happening, I was aware, Chair. Yes.
So you were part of the challenge. Honorable Lungu, and delivered building material Luamala Secondary School. We conclude our interaction.
Chair, thank you. PS, in your submission, this is a contract that was given worth 5,469,816. Coming to your submission, you have submitted that materials worth 1,720,679.77 have been so far been delivered to these schools, and the remaining goods haven't been delivered. My first follow-up question is what justification was used to approve advance payment to the supplier without any form of security, advance payment guarantee? The other question is, how does the ministry intend to recover the balance in the event that the supplier does not deliver? The other follow-up question, what measures is the ministry implementing to prevent such occurrences in the near future? Chair, I submit.
PS, there are 3 questions on this question.
I think the PO Central is here together with the Debs Ngawe. PO Central Province.
Who is the PO?
Chair, my name is Hamdudu Mambe, the Provincial Education Officer. I wish to state that the position brought out by Auditor General's report is correct. The money stated was paid before the materials were delivered. And the District Education Board Secretary here with me was charged that these materials are supposed to be brought immediately and other things will follow later.
Just a follow-up question, PS. In the last query, there was a question of saying that you are still owing the supplier 75%, not until they deliver. This query, the supplier was paid before delivery within the same ministry. What policy do you have on procurement as a ministry?
Chair, the policy is one. It doesn't matter which area where the policy is one as per ZPPA. It's the same. 25% advance, 75 up.
PO.
Chair, maybe.
Honorable Lungu.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe the committee would like to find out who authorized the total sum of contract to be paid to the supplier before delivering anything, because according to the contracts, as the PS was submitting, only a certain amount of percentage can be paid to the supplier. Chair, submit.
PO, can respond to the question.
Thank you so much. The school management was authorized by the district. I submit.
By the DEP's office? Yes. So, honorable members, the DEP's authorized the payment. Oh, DEP's, you can respond to the question.
Thank you, Chair. Through the PS. Chair, allow me to just give you a background on how the payment came about. In the first place, the site where the school is a very hard place to reach, because even when they were picking the people to be suppliers, I think the committee had quite a big challenge. For me, Chair, allow me to say that it's not that there was no material delivered to the site, because even at the time when the auditors were doing the audit, they found activities happening at the site. What transpired, Chair, is that the 8 suppliers were given different activities to attend to. For example, there were those who were suppliers and those who qualified as transporters. So the issue here is the suppliers did their part, brought all the materials to their warehouses.
Switch off your mic here, Debs.
Thank you.
Chair, we are at C. The DEPS is making a different submission from the controlling officer. You have now overruling, because the controlling officer has responded here that the materials worth 1.7 have so far been delivered. Given the excessive delay in fulfilling the remaining deliveries, the school has issued a final demand notice to the supplier. But you are here saying the supplier did his part. So, Chair, I think the DEPS needs to be guided accordingly.
So, DEPS, I have an idea the submission by the controlling officer, so you have to be within. Because your submission, you said that the supplier did his part, but the contract is between you and the supplier. Or you are saying you had the contract with the supplier, again you had the contract with the transporters?
Yes, Chair, this is what I'm trying to explain. That the suppliers, the materials, government has not lost. They are in the warehouses in Kawe. So the issue came in at the part of collecting the materials from the warehouse, which they're still there. The transporters started transporting up to the harbor. And when they reached the harbor, which is the pontoon in Ngabwe, they were not allowed to cross over. For example, a 30-ton of stones is taken up to the river. They found the pontoon was not working, I think for almost 3 months. And then the challenge was to guard those materials. But they managed to pick some and went and started building the storeroom where these all materials were to be taken. So the team went to investigate or to check the materials in the warehouses. What PO has indicated is true at the time of audit, because with transportation, surely they had not gone, because even now they are still in the warehouses. The transporters started transporting the materials. The challenge was now to take them to the site. The pontoon was not working. Even as I'm talking now, ZIP, the owners, they know they also failed to reach the site. So what transpired was the money for transportation, we realized the money was not enough from ZIP. I think they were down by 3.8 million to give the suppliers. That is how now the
order, Honorable Lumai.
Chair, as submitted by Honorable Munima, the DEPS is taking a different route. So I want to ask him what was difficult to give that submission to the PS so that it is in here, because he doesn't want to abide. In short, he's saying the submission by the PS is the wrong submission. His submission is the right one. So why do we have this situation, DEPS? Why didn't you give this information to the PS?
DEPS.
Apology on that one. We thought that thing was within our means. We didn't anticipate the pontoon breakdown. So
no, the question is not about the pontoon. The question from Honorable Lumai is that having that challenge, why didn't you submit the information to the PS? So that as she's doing her submission, it was supposed to be the correct information, so that what you have and what she submitted was within line. And okay, the next question is, if the auditors came to Kawe, why didn't you take them to the pontoon to say that the material is here, but the challenge was crossing to the other side, so that they appreciate the challenge that you are facing and we find a way as government to help you?
They were taken to the site, and the materials, they found some by the harbor. They were taken.
Honorable Mukumbi. Switch off the mic, Debs.
Is it the one that was charged by yourself? Or it's a different Debs? By the PO. It's a different person or himself. So the matter is very clear here. We were just going, back and forth. You were even charged.
You don't respond to I tell you, I guide you. You speak through me. Let the Honorable finish.
So the reason we were charged is there in your letter. We've seen your charge letter. So why are we now submitting other things that are not there? You know what transpired here. Everything was done and charged and you responded. So why are you giving another submission that is not within this controlling officer's submission? Chair submit.
So Debs, can you withdraw your submission and we move, honorable members?
Thank you. I withdraw my submission.
Honorable Lungu, there are no answers here. Let's progress. PS, thanks so much for your time. You've been with us for the past 4 days. Is it 4 days? For the past 3 days. And during your interaction, we realized that we still have a lot of challenges under your ministry. And what is coming out, your officers, especially in the provinces, they have a laissez-faire approach to work. Because most of these questions, some of them, they are not supposed even to reflect in the Auditor General's office. If issues, documents, answers are given to the auditors when they are on site, what you need to do, officers in the province, can you cooperate with the auditors when they come and meet you, so that you reduce your work? Just coming here to Lusaka, we are spending government resources. And you're supposed to be working spending in the provinces, because you've spent 4 days here. So, PS, I think we have to change, and we've been telling you the same guidance every year for the past 4 years. Till we are going into the new year. Next year, you find other people who will be asking you questions.
Can I come intervene? At head office, we have almost zero, because I'm there like weeping and everybody's working, we are working together. It's in the outskirts. If they can work the way we work at head office, if you've noticed now, at head office, it's only an issue beyond us, but not these administrative issues in the province. And I keep on telling them the issues they are bringing should have been given to the auditors, and in the way you've rightly put it.
So, PS, if the POs, they are failing to work, we take the people within the ministry who can do the work, because we have a lot of people, even some DEBs, they can do better than some POs. Even headmasters, they can do better than POs. I know that under your ministry we have a lot of people, so you can change if people are failing to work. What we want is to work. We don't want anyone to go anywhere, but the point is that people should change their approach to work. The laissez-faire type. And then the other issue, PS, is the issue of PEMIC. That's another issue in your ministry. However, we invite the people from PEMIC when the ST will be coming next year in January. And then there's also a submission to find a way to help the retired teachers, because we have teachers who retired as way back as 2014, which is not fair, because according to the submission, they will still get the same amount they were supposed to get in 2014. Yeah, so I think we need to find a way of helping our parents out there. And then also there's the issue of ZPPA question. That question will meet you next year. And then there was a submission by the head procurement where he was trying to say that local suppliers, there's nothing wrong with local suppliers. The issue, it is us who are managing them. You know your people, you know the suppliers that you've been working with. Those who are giving you a problem, you remove them from your list. Find the right suppliers to help you work, because they are making your life difficult. So, however, PS, thank you so much for being with us. We'll meet next year again. We wish you well. I lift your immunity. You can go back to the office. You'll find a lot of work at the ministry. Thank you so much. Thank you. Compliments of the season and Happy New Year.